these different forms of Lord Shiva have manifested here in Vrindavan to take part in Krishna's Leela and also to bless us. So there, as I mentioned, there are thousands and thousands of Shiva lingas all over Vrindavan, known and unknown, manifested and unmanifested. And some of these deities are of course, they were installed by Bhadranath, Krishna's great-grandson, 5,000 years ago, to commemorate the particular Leela that Lord Shiva took part in with the Lord, and also to bless us and with His mercy. So the first one we can consider is the Nandishvara himself, Nandishvara hill, where Krishna is in Govardhan. At the top of the hill there's a Nandishvara, there's a Shiva linga of Lord Shiva. It's called Nandishvara. He means the protector of Nandagram. He's the protector of Nandagram, Krishna's home. So there's one beautiful pastime related to another place near Lalitakund in Nandagram, Ashishvara Mahadev. But after Krishna was born, then he came here to Nandagram. Then Lord Shiva wanted to have his darshan. So Lord Shiva came to the palace, to the gate of the palace in Nandagram. And he was asking the guards, the chokidars, I want to see Kanhaiya, I want to have this darshan and see this young boy, so beautiful boy. So they went in and they told Mother Yashoda, there's some atiti, some mendicant, some yogi, some great yogi out there to see, wants to have darshan of your son. And so Mother Yashoda, she looked out and she said, this man has this long hair, all matted locks, and skulls around his neck, and snakes around his neck, and a big trishul, big pointed spear, and a very powerful figure, and he's covered with ashes everywhere, and doesn't look too sweet for my son. I mean, this is like a horror movie or something, scare the child. So she said, no, tell him that my baby's sleeping, and maybe come back some other time. So then Lord Shiva was very unhappy, so he went away, and he said, he was thinking, he made a vow that unless I have darshan of Nandana, Yashodanandan, I'll not leave this place. I've come here, and I'll just go to the forest here, and I'll do austerities. So he went nearby, started performing austerities. And then, as soon as Mother Yashoda went back into Krishna's room, Krishna's crying. And she tried so many normal ways to make him stop crying, the rocking and the kissing and the hugging and all the things mothers do for time immemorial to make children stop crying. Give him his toys, here, play with this, and throwing everything away, and give him some food to eat. And I don't want food, I don't want toys, and then I don't want singing, I don't want hugging, I don't want kissing, I don't want sleeping. What did Krishna want? He wanted Shiva. He wanted Shiva darshan. So he's crying. Then she said, well, let's see, maybe it's me. So she called in Ambika and Kalimba and some of the different nurses that lived there with her and assist her in her work. So Ambika came and Kalimba, and they tried, because they know some other little songs that Yashoda doesn't know, and they tried some other tricks they know, hang him by his ankles and swing him like this and that. They just cried more and more. So then they tried to make funny faces, and because they go a little out of their way, because they're working for Mother Yashoda, so to speak. And then she called Rohini. Then Rohini, Balaram's mother, came, and so no one had any luck. Krishna's crying. So then, Mother Yashoda was really disturbed because her boy was upset and unhappy and crying, and then she became unhappy and crying. And then Nanda Maharaj came and said, what is going on? Why is everyone crying? So, well, I don't know, maybe there's somebody came to see him, and some Yogi Raj, and I sent him away, and Nanda Maharaj ordered the servants, he ordered so many guards, he said, go look for that Yogi Raj, bring him. So they found Lord Shiva and they brought him. And they said, what do you want? He said, I just want to see this little boy and have a little bit of his remnants. If I can just have some food, some prasad from his mouth. So then as soon as they brought Lord Shiva into the living, living room or something, darshan room. then he saw the baby, and then Krishna stopped crying and he was smiling. Oh, and he was so happy to see Mahadev, Lord Shiva. And then he said, then what about I can have some remnants, something is food. So then they gave him some remnants and he took them and he was so happy. So then, what happened is after this pastime, then of course, Krishna went back to the spiritual world, but there was a Shiva Linga installed there right next to Krishna's house, and a little temple was made, a little house was made for Lord Shiva, and he manifested there in the Linga form, Nandishvar. And then what they do is, because Lord Shiva came there with a desire to have darshan of Krishna and receive his remnants, and every day when the pujaris, they offer bhoga to Krishna and Balaram, after they offer to Krishna and Balaram, they take it and offer to Lord Shiva. This is Nitya Lila. This is eternal pastime, because they know that Lord Shiva wants to eat the remnants of Krishna and Balaram. And of course, this is the proper way to worship demigods. Although Lord Shiva is also a god in one sense, but he's acting in the role of a demigod also in one of his forms. And Jagannath Puri, in the temple of Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra, that is how they relate to the demigods there. They worship Krishna and Balaram first, then they take the remnants of Krishna and Balaram and they offer to different devis and devas. But they have different temples around the main temple. So this is Nandishvar Mahadev. He's there on top of Govardhan Hill. And it explains in Bhakti Ratnakar and other places that someone goes to Nandagram, they take bath in Pavan Sarovar and then take darshan of Nandishvar, because he's the protector, he's the controller, he's protecting the holy dham of Krishna and Balaram. And if someone goes there and takes darshan of Nandishvar, then Krishna and Balaram and Nanda Baba and Yashoda, and then he'll get the blessings of the Lord, he'll become successful in his endeavor. That's one thing. I don't know what that means exactly. One thing it says, Bhakti Ratnakar says, he'll be successful in business. Of course, our only business is to attain great wealth. That is the business of all devotees. We want to attain great wealth, isn't it? So we have to understand from the viewpoint of Ramananda Roy and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Shiksha, what is the definition of wealth? And that question was asked by Lord Chaitanya to Ramananda Roy. What is wealth? Who is really a wealthy person? Who is a rich person? Who is a crorepati? And then Ramananda Roy, inspired by Lord Chaitanya, he gave the answer that, my Lord, a wealthy person is someone who has pure love for Radha and Krishna. One who has pure love for Radha and Krishna, he's really wealthy. So as we mentioned, by the blessings of Nandishwar Shiva, Mahadev, in Nandagram, and Krishna Balaram in the Dham, one can become successful in their business. So our business is to become wealthy. All of us want to become wealthy and successful. So success and wealth is measured by attachment to Krishna and how much prem we have. Or at least now our bank account is a little empty. But we hope that we'll get some transfer of funds. Some funds will be transferred into our account. Isn't it? So that is the whole idea of dissension of mercy. So Nandishvar and Gopishvar and Bhuteshvar and Kameshwar and Chakaleshwar, they're all merciful manifestations of the Lord that have come here to give mercy. And that's why great devotees throughout the last millennium after millennium have been worshipping these different forms of Lord Shiva for mercy, to get the wealth of Krishna and the wealth of Radha and Krishna Prema. And of course, so Nandishvar is there for those devotees who want to serve in Nandagram and live in Nandagram and serve the Lord. Nandishvar he grants entrance into that petal of the lotus of Braj. I mentioned that there are 5 main Shiva deities in Braj Mandal. So this Nandishvar Mahadev, he's protecting the northern side. He's protecting Nandagram, the northern side. Then in the southern side of Braj Mandal and Mathura side, then you have Bhuteshwar, the Lord of the Bhutas, the Lord of the underworld, the nether regions. In other words, we see with our eyes so many species of life. 8,400,000 species of life have been categorized. Jalajal Navalakshani. 9 lakhs of species that take birth in the water. Jalajal Navalakshani. Navalakshani means 9 lakhs of Jalaja. They're born in the water. 2 million plants, and 3 million beasts, and 400,000, 4 lakhs varieties of human beings, civilized and uncivilized, sophisticated and unsophisticated, higher and lower. Gandharvas and Kinnaras are one type of human being, and they live on higher planets. And like what we say, angels. In the Bible, they have angels with wings. They're called Kinnaras. They're human form with wings, fly around. And there's Gandharvas and like that. 4 lakhs. So Bhuteshwar, but we see all that with our eyes. But Bhuteshwar, there's just as millions and millions of unembodied living entities, the subtle beings that are moving around, influencing people and places and things. And Lord Shiva is their Lord. So he's protecting the Mathura section of Braj Mandal in the south, Nadishvar in the north. On the east side, protecting the east side of Braj Mandal, specifically the forest of Vrindavan, there is probably one of the most famous Lord Shivas known as Gopeshwar. Then in the western side of Braj Mandal, protecting anyone coming from Rajasthan, anyone coming in on camels or elephants, there's Kameshwar and Kamvan. Then who's protecting the middle region? In the middle, if someone wants to drop in on the middle side. Chakaleshwar. At Manasiganga, there's Chakaleshwar. So these are the 5 principal Shiva deities, and they're all